noticed that many television dramas are scored with progressions like this one. Listen to how these four chords repeat, and notice how your ears are pulled toward two different chords, C minor and E flat major. I call harmonic progressions like this one dual leading tone loops. These are short chord loops that contain leading tones for two different chords, one major and one minor. We feel pulled toward both the C minor and E flat major chords here because this progression includes both chords' leading tones. A leading tone is the pitch a half step below the tonic of a scale. If I play the C minor scale and stop a half step before finishing, you'll hear a distinct pull back toward C. The same phenomenon occurs when I play an E flat major scale. C minor and E flat major are known as relative scales because they share the same collection of 7 pitches. Relative scales are paired so often in both European classical music and modern popular music that they've been described as forming a double tonic complex. Pieces or passages of music exhibit a double tonic complex when they draw our ear to these two relative tonal centers more or less equally. The dual leading tone loop is thus a special kind of double tonic complex that shuttles back and forth between these two tonal centers in a matter of seconds. What makes the dual leading tone loop a good fit for recent television dramas? In part, the dual leading tone loop provides the perfect accompaniment for scenes in which characters experience disparate emotions simultaneously. Take this example from another HBO drama, Euphoria. In this scene, Nate meets his online crush, Jules, in real life for the first time.
You know, over the past few weeks, I've spent every moment of every day getting to know you. At night, I fall asleep to you, and in the morning, I wake up to you. Kind of feel closer to you than I do to anyone in the whole world.
The pre-existing music track heard here is In My Dreams by the trans artist Anoni. Anoni's dual leading tone loop contains the leading tone for A flat major, as well as the leading tone for F minor. The musical ambivalence here reflects Nate's own internal conflict. Nate presents and maintains an outwardly heterosexual appearance to both his family and school friends, and yet in private is attracted to Jules, a trans woman. You might expect that a dual leading tone loop would involve dominant to tonic motion toward both chords, like this. E flat is the dominant of A flat, and C is the dominant chord of F minor. But because this progression is merely one of 35 unique combinations of 4 chords that form a dual leading tone loop, its scarcity is probably just a matter of probability. Here's an exception that proves the rule about the scarcity of this progression from the Hulu drama A Handmaid's Tale. The dual leading tone loop here pairs well with Serena's emotional state when she sees Nicole, her handmaid's infant daughter, in a Canadian airport, now in the custody of Luke, her handmaid's husband. But instead of providing a full F major chord to lead to B flat major, composer Adam Taylor ramps up the rhetoric, giving us just an A octave, the leading tone on its own. If he'd used any other member of the F major chord, the root F or the fifth C, the leading tone of B flat major would not have been present and the effect would have been lost. Toward the end of this clip, the B flat major is replaced by an ominous E flat chord, which makes the clip end in an unequivocal G minor tonality. So it's possible that we're left feeling Serena's sorrow more than her relief. A season later, Taylor alters one more chord in this progression. In this scene, we get the same G minor, E flat, and B flat chords, but here he substitutes a D minor chord for D major, effectively removing the leading tone from the would-be tonic of G minor and leaving us with the very common, fully diatonic axis A loop. Because the dual leading tones are missing from this loop, I hear it differently from all of the other scenes we've watched. And in fact, unlike all the other scenes we've watched, this one does not feature a character experiencing conflicting emotions simultaneously. In this scene, the show's protagonist, June, has just realized that her best efforts at resisting the authoritarian state Gilead have merely resulted in her capture. Because there are no conflicting emotions in this scene, just resignation, it's ironic that the chord loop only contains the leading tone for the relative major key, not the minor. Television dramas are ideal for understanding the potential web of meanings associated with dual leading tone loops, because they are rich in information about plot and character. But dual leading tone loops seem to carry these connotations into other genres as well. To give just one example, in the opening scene of the hit musical Hamilton, a dual leading tone loop accompanies the backstory of Alexander Hamilton, highlighting how the founding father started out as a, quote, bastard orphan and grows up to be a, quote, hero and a scholar against all odds. I'll leave you now to ponder the potential web of meanings in this montage of some other pop music examples that contain dual leading tone loops.
But it wasn't a match. Wrote some songs about Ricky. Now I